The Democratic Party has a Zionism problem. A report commissioned by the DNC found that Kamala Harris lost the election because of the genocide in Gaza, losing her votes from crucial constituencies that she needed in order to win. Bavik Latia, who coordinated digital strategy for the Harris campaign, weighed in on Twitter saying, "I coordinated digital strategy for Kamala Harris across every single battleground state. Guess which issue got us more backlash and demobilization from our base than any other? The genocide in Gaza that AIPAC actively aids and abets. So what steps is the DNC taking to try to rectify this problem and win these voters back? The answer is launching an outreach campaign with a listening first approach. The voter contact operation, called Local Listeners, is a tacit acknowledgement of one of the ways Democrats fell short in 2024 when then Vice President Kamala Harris failed to engender enough enthusiasm from likely Democrats. As DNC Deputy Executive Director Libby Schneider admitted, "We didn't lose voters to Donald Trump. We lost to the couch. We saw our voters, many of our important voters, stay home. Obviously, this is a trend that cannot continue. A key element of the strategy will be training volunteers to engage infrequent voters with a listening-first approach that prioritizes active listening and having difficult conversations about politics." One thing that's missing from this strategy of active listening is any policy commitments on Palestine. What are Democrats actually promising to do differently if you vote for them back in power? An arms embargo or even just some vague, undefined change in course, but they aren't. The best the Democratic Party can offer pro-Palestine voters is, "We hear you, we see you, let's have a difficult conversation." So I'm here to have a different kind of difficult conversation with the Democratic Party, on the off chance that they're actively listening. If you think you're going to win the midterms just based on inertia, and that people will put aside how awful and disgusting your party has been when it was in power just 3 years ago, how it used that power to commit a Holocaust in Palestine that killed more than 70,000 people, you're out of your mind. People who voted for Biden in 2020 and stayed home in 2024 thought that they were voting for peace, for going back to normal, for compassion. Instead, they got a Holocaust in Palestine, perpetrated, funded, and defended by a senile old corpse and his platitude-ridden vice president. When Netanyahu went to give a speech in front of Congress, Congressmember Rashida Tlaib brought along Hani al-Madoun, who lost over 150 members of his family in the Gaza Holocaust. After witnessing his sister forced to eat animal feed, he and his family were determined to start a soup kitchen to feed their starving neighbors. Do you think Hani and his family, that their feeling of betrayal after voting for Biden could just be papered over with an active listening session? Do you think bullshit platitudes would be enough for them? Of course not. It's absurd on its face. So what could Democrats tangibly offer to at least try to win these voters back? Well, for starters, they could run anti-Zionist candidates for Congress and Senate. But first, let's define who a Zionist is, just so we're all on the same page. According to Palestinian-American professor of literature and expert in indigenous studies, Dr. Steven Saleda, Zionism is a belief in Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state in any incarnation on any part of historical Palestine. This means that supporting a two-state solution makes you a Zionist. This isn't complicated stuff. The only anti-Zionist solution is the one-state solution, with equal rights for all from the river to the sea, regardless of race, ethnicity, or religion, and the right of return of all Palestinian refugees and their descendants. By that definition, only one member of Congress is anti-Zionist, Congressmember Rashida Tlaib. In a feature interview with Indies Times, Congressmember Tlaib explained her reasoning, saying, "One state. It has to be one state. Separate but equal does not work. I'm only 42 years old, but my teachers were of that generation that marched with Dr. Martin Luther King. This whole idea of a two-state solution, it doesn't work. Even though we continue to struggle in the United States, we have a better chance to integrate. Equality isn't based on faith." On the right of return, Congressmember Tlaib said, "I support the right of return, absolutely. I have family that left Palestine in 1967. They left, took their keys with them. They thought they could come back, and they've never been back. My uncle would tear up because he couldn't believe he couldn't go back. He had to raise his kids in Jordan. You don't have equal access. Separate but equal does not work." This is what being a principled, anti-Zionist elected official looks like. But unfortunately, to this day, No other member of Congress, not even so-called progressive ones, have joined Rashida. Rashida is still the only elected official who supports the one-state solution. As media outlet The Call noted in its Substack piece, in November 2023, as Israel's genocidal intentions in Gaza were on full display and ramping up daily, H.R. 888, affirming Israel's so-called right to exist, passed with a roll call vote. Rashida Tlaib was the only one not to vote in favor of the resolution. She voted present. Cori Bush was marked not voting. AOC, Pramila Jayapal, Ayanna Pressley, Jamal Bowman, Summer Lee, Ilhan Omar, and Delia Ramirez all voted yeah on the resolution. This is an explicit, undeniable endorsement of Zionism. So to be clear, all of these Congress members who pretend they're progressives, AOC, Pramila Jayapal, Delia Ramirez, all voted in favor of Israel's right to exist as an apartheid state. Look, I'm not naive. There are a million obstacles to bringing about the end of Zionism and the emergence of one democratic state from the river to the sea. But equal rights is not something I'm willing to compromise on, regardless of whether some loser democratic strategist decides that it's realistic or if it's going to play in swing states or not. Democrats are offering us less than nothing and telling themselves that they're meeting the moment. I'm here to warn them that they aren't. I genuinely believe Democrats are going to lose in the midterms. And rest assured, when they do, they'll blame it on immigrants or trans people or woke or anything that deflects from their own failure to offer voters something real, something tangible, something better than not Trump. As long as Zionism remains a feature of progressive Democrats, they're not going to win voters like me back. They can try to triangulate their way out of it, dilute the definition of Zionism, co-opt it, change it, and pretend a few listening sessions or strongly worded speeches will make up for their lack of substance. But I promise you, voters are smarter than that. Promoting Zionist candidates as just a little less Zionist than the other side is not good enough. New messaging from Hakeem Jeffries or Cory Booker or whoever is not good enough. I don't know if you can't feel the mood right now, but no one I know is excited to vote for anyone or anything. As this user on Twitter said, the Democratic Party is doing a really good job of trying to convince me not to vote in 2028. The amount of disdain Democratic establishment politicians hold for their own constituents is truly astonishing. You guys don't understand how bad it has to be, how bad it has to get for me to feel like this. And if Democrats plan to regurgitate the old harm reduction, vote for the lesser evil talking point, it's just not going to work. As Ashley on Twitter said, harm reduction is something liberals say, when what they really mean is harm redistribution. The harm is never reduced, it's just redistributed to someone or someplace else. It's why they told me I had to vote for someone committing genocide over there to protect my rights over here. The thing Democrats don't seem to understand, and what liberal commentators don't seem to understand, is that in many ways the jig is up. Voters are telling Democrats right now that liberal Zionism, just like Kamala Harris in 2024, will, in DNC parlor, fail to engender enough enthusiasm. And until Democrats join Rashida, treat Zionism as racism, and truly embrace the Palestinian liberation movement as their struggle to champion, which is the civil rights struggle of our time, Democrats can kiss my and many other people's votes goodbye. The demand is clear, the stakes are high, and trust me, Democrats, you won't be able to triangulate your way out of this one.